are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast, episode 174 of the College Loop Podcast. I am Larck at Butch Thompson on Twitter, and I'm here joining Mr. Harrison Tarr. Tarr, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm great. I'm happy to be back. Happy, I guess it's not happy March, but I wasn't on the Sunday stream. So happy March to all of those who may celebrate. And welcome into the days are going to get longer soon. So actually not feeling like you're going to bed at 9,000 hours p.m. Post your bedtime when it's actually 7:30 outside, and it's Central Time Zone. Those of you guys listening in Auburn, it's so bad there. It's like 4:30 and it gets dark. It's unbelievable. So yeah, no, it's good. Starting to see some daylight again, Dylan. It's up in the 70s this week, man. I mean, the vibes are just high, and Auburn athletics vibes are high. Spring sports full swing, starting with Auburn men's basketball and their clash tomorrow. As this comes out with Missouri. Wednesday, tomorrow, tonight. They play on Tuesday night.
Oh, okay.
Yes, tonight as this show's coming out, that is the final verdict, and we are here to preview Auburn's clash with Missouri, who is winless in the Southeastern Conference at this point this year, even losing a close one to Vanderbilt by a handful of points. But Auburn's got a new configuration. We'll get to that here in a little bit with the loss of Lior Berman for the remainder of his collegiate career, unfortunately, and we'll touch base on that after we talk about the Missouri Tigers. We'll start right here with Mizzou, a team that has seen a rise and fall over the past 2 or 3 years, just up and down roller coaster of emotions. This group looked like they were poised to kind of become a perennial, not contender, but factor in the SEC. It was as late as last year, and then turn around this year and has laid just an absolute egg. I mean, this team is 8-21, 14th, dead last in the SEC, and just a group that is struggling collaboratively. And then that really, it's the remedy's not secret, Dylan. It's the guard play, and it's Sean East, it's Tamar Bates, it's Nick Honor, all averaging north of 11 points a game, and Sean East averaging 17.5, which isn't that crazy considering the young man's playing on average 34 minutes a game. This group doesn't rotate out a ton. They're only averaging 72.5 points a game, and their field goal percentage is 44.3, which isn't like horrendously tragic, but it's not good. And this group is just hard to bet on. They really aren't even playing a ton of teams absurdly close, and they just aren't a cohesive unit. They don't rotate out a ton. They ask a lot of guys to play a lot of minutes, they ask a very niche group of guys to play a lot of minutes, rather, is what I meant to get at. And they don't do anything particularly well on the offensive end of the floor. They're 32-3 from the three-point percentage, and they turn the ball over a lot. 11.4 turnovers a game, and that's just on average. And mind you, that's including the non-conference slate. This group is not someone you can sleep on. You can't sleep on anybody in college basketball. We wouldn't play the game if we already knew who won. But Dylan, it is hard to sit here and get amped up for an Auburn matchup against a team that's been so flat. It could be amped. You could get amped up if Auburn absolutely hands it to Missouri on the road.
Yes and no, I will say, because I listened to BP's press conference previewing this game from I think yesterday or this morning. But BP did not seem like he was for sure going to win. But coach speak is coach speak, no matter what.
He's the goat at it.
Yeah, I mean, Auburn might have hit the trifecta on that. Got to say, but you're going into a game of against a team who is again winless in the SEC, 0-16, which by all accounts not very good. They're going into the final home game of their season. This team isn't going to make it past the first round of the SEC tournament. This team has no future after that first game in the SEC tournament. It's senior night. It's the last home game. It's the last chance to make your mark as a Missouri Tiger. And what better way to do that than to play your best ball game thus far against one of the highest ranked teams in the sport?
One of the premier teams in the country.
Exactly. One of the blue bloods in the country. So this is not a game to bat an eye at. I know records versus record kind of speaks for itself. You're like, oh yeah, Auburn's going to win this game by 18. Sure. Which, not a bad prediction, I must say, but it's not a game that, I mean, you have four guys averaging double-digit points. Auburn known to have issues with tall guards. Sean East stepping in at, I believe, 6'3". So not something to really bat an eye at. I'm not gonna lie. I want to pick Auburn to win, probably by a lot. but it's more of like a cautionary tale of tall guards plus senior night plus last home game for another team that's having a very bad season. And something about that navy blue and burnt orange always seems to allow teams that should not be in the game to be in the game.
Yeah, I mean you feel that way because it's the team you watch the most. Everyone feels that way about their team, especially the teams with programs that are excelling at a high level. But I think from a philosophical standpoint here, Dylan, the scariest part of this game is not on the floor, particularly anything in specific. If you're Auburn, it is the fact that you go in. Auburn goes in as the 13th ranked team in the country, headed to Columbia, Missouri, and they have everything to lose and nothing to gain. Auburn has everything to lose. This could be an ugly, ugly ass loss on your record, and you really don't gain anything even if you thump them. You expect to go in and hand it to Missouri on an astronomical level, just to be transparent. Missouri is in the most dangerous position in all of sports. They're a team that has nothing to lose and everything to gain. It's their senior night, like you mentioned, Dylan. It's their last time that this group's going to get to play on home court, and one of the last ball games that a lot of these guys, young men, will play ever. I mean, just period. It's a no-brainer that Missouri's going to give you your best basketball, and that is once you establish yourself as a powerhouse and within the sport, teams are going to do that on a nightly basis. Auburn has learned that over the past couple of years. But that being said, that's the scariest part to me is that Missouri has no reason to not try tough shots, has no reason to not try to go away from a formula that's not worked all year. Why not switch up the formula now? Why not try new things? Why not try to get Auburn in foul trouble? Get Janai Broome out of the game. They have nothing to lose. Auburn has it all to lose, which is, I mean, that's a situation as if you're an Auburn fan that you want to be in. You don't want to be on the other end of this. You've been there. Tony Barbie was there. But you have to make sure that you are not looking ahead to this weekend's contest with a UGA team that can help your resume a little bit. And you can't be looking too much into the storyline of, we're down this game without Lior Berman. We're doing the rest of the season for 24. That's great. And I'm 100% on board. We'll talk about that here in a moment. But you've got to make sure you stay in the moment and stay present. And sometimes Auburn teams have been known to, under Bruce Pearl, have been known to overlook the moment. We don't have to look that far back for us to recall our senior year, Dylan. That Auburn team, I mean, peaked at the wrong time for sure, but kind of got caught with the metaphorical pants around their knees, like around their ankles. Like you got caught overlooking an opponent, and it cost you big time, and it cost you in the tournament, and it cost you in the NCAA tournament. So Auburn's got to make sure that they absolutely go in, impose their will, and dominate this game. I think they will, but if you don't, it's an abysmal failure because the expectation is that you're going to go in there and whip their ass. That is the expectation. That is where the bar is. Anything less than that is going to be determined and decided as a failure. A win is a win, sure, but if you don't do it handedly, you're in trouble. So that being said, Dylan, let's give our score predictions before we jump into a little Lior Berman, Chris Moore talk. And I'm going to let you. You said you're going to take the Tigers pretty handedly. What you got?
I might go with Auburn hitting their average here at 82. So I'm going to go Auburn 82. I'm going to say Missouri 65.
Yeah, this game screams one of two directions. Either an abysmal showing from the floor where Auburn wins this game somehow by like 13 or 14, or Auburn shoots the lights out, wastes all their good shots before Georgia comes to town on Saturday and wins this game by 30. I'm going to take somewhere in the middle. I'm going to take the Tigers 86-68. I do think it's going to be decisive. I think this game should be put away by halftime. But then again, that's something Auburn's got to learn how to do is they've let teams creep back into it after halftime. You don't have to look that far back. Mississippi State tried to claw their way. They clawed their way back into that game this past weekend.
Yeah.
So there's a number of ways that this thing could go, just as in every game. But I'm confident in Bruce Pearl's ability to remind these guys that now's the time to be playing your best ball. Like you're damn near where you want to be peaking and peaking for a handful of games and go for a run. Auburn family is expecting wins in the SEC tournament this year. So you've got to build momentum now. And that only comes from a win streak. So that being said, Dylan, Auburn basketball will be down Lior Berman for the remainder of the season. He's out and indefinitely, or for the remainder of his career at the collegiate level. Bruce Pearl mentioned in his press conference earlier in the week that he's of the highest character and that he fully intends that Lior will be able to pursue his dream of playing professional basketball in Israel, which I absolutely concur. I think that there's a place for him there, and I think that he can absolutely be a standout player in the Israeli league. But unfortunately, that's water under the bridge right now. that's neither here nor there. What does matter is that long-term member of the Auburn program, Chris Moore, steps up in a way that Auburn's not asked him to yet. And honestly, at any point in his career, has not really asked him to do so. We've had some SEMO moments that I don't want anybody to get lost on, that he has stepped up in a big way for Auburn. This is going to be the biggest task on his plate to this point in his career. How does Chris Moore fit in to a scheme that really needs offensive continuity when, let's just be honest, he's not been an offensive factor? Dylan, how does that work?
I mean, you got to hear Bruce Pearl talk about his confidence level, and Lior Berman, luckily, was not a full ACL tear, which was great news for Lior, because it means quicker and speedier recovery that can work out very well for him. But I don't know if Auburn really needs Chris Moore to step up like astronomically offensively. 2, 3, 4 points a game would be fine. That's more than what we're used to from SEMO, regardless. But the effort he puts on the defensive end of the ball is what you're really going to need from him, because Auburn has scores at every end of throughout 1 through 10 scores available. Chaney Johnson's had games where he stepped up and put up double digits.
He's finally showing up that he can be a reliable guy.
Hallelujah, because I predicted early on, and I was really wanting to be right about that. You had Travis Kamazara, who is a reliable scorer whenever he's not racking up techs. Of course, again, you have Jay Will and Janai, and you have Aiden Holloway, Trey Donaldson. You have all these guys who can put up points. But whenever the fouls start racking up, and believe me, they do, you got to have a guy who can put in the effort on the defense side of the ball, who can give you that little time to breathe. That way you don't have players just fouling out left and right, because this team is a little bit handsy. I will say they are known to rack up some fouls.
I feel like they foul at a higher clip than a lot of teams.
Yeah, I feel like I would love to go back and I'm trying to remember, was it Chad Baker Mazzaro, or was it someone else who fouled out with 6 fouls this year?
CBM? That was Janai Broom.
Janai Broom? Yeah.
He's done it twice.
Yeah, so this team fouls a lot. But I know BP is very confident in SEMO's ability to score. And SEMO seems like he's going to be very confident in his ability to add to the point totals. But defensively is where SEMO needs to step up the most. He has before. He's a very reliable defender. He puts effort in every single time he's on the court. It's just how many shots can you trust him to take whenever he's not been scoring this season? And Coach Chalk is Coach Chalk. You got to feel confident in all your players, because if you don't, you're going to lose faith with a lot of your players.
Sure, you lose your.
But as an analyst, I can firmly say I don't know how likely we are to feel confidence in SEMO shooting the ball. I mean, unless he's wide open.
We're not going to see a Chris Moore game. That's not what, like, to your point, Dylan, and I was going to kind of build off that. That's not what Auburn needs. Is not a Chris Moore takeover game. That's not what you're asking him to do. You've never seen a Lior Berman takeover game. You've not. I know that there have been moments, but you've not seen Lior Berman takeover games. What you're asking him to do is step up in the role that Lior Berman, unfortunately, as of last week, figured out where he fit in this scheme. It's unfortunate timing for a lot of things, and as you mentioned, wishing Lior a speedy recovery. But most unfortunate in terms of X's and O's that Auburn had just figured out what that role really looked like for Lior Berman, and that was 2 to 4, sometimes 5 points off the bench, and playing really, really solid defense and just running his ass off for the amount of time that he gets on the floor, knowing that he's going to be able to hustle 100% because he's going to get that rest. Chris Moore needs to fit that mold. It's that simple. And it's going to mean a bump up in minutes for everybody, just a little bit, not a ton. It should not have a major shockwave-like impact as if we were speaking about Jalen Williams, like we thought we were going to be talking about just a couple weeks ago. Thank goodness he's returned to health. And not saying any one player's health is more valuable than another's, but it's certainly, in terms of X's and O's, Jalen Williams is more valuable to the point total on the score sheet. Chris Moore needs to step up in a way, like you mentioned, on the defensive end of the floor and make impacts away from the ball. He's tremendously good at it. He's just got to stay out of foul trouble doing so, which he's also quite good at doing. It's about making sure that your man can never get the ball. It's about making sure you go up and grab your boards, get your 3 or 4 boards a game, create 1 or 2 turnovers a game. make an impact and give your team extra opportunities and extra possessions that other teams may have not earned, or that you may not have earned outside of poking the ball away and forcing other teams into bad shots. Being an impact away from the ball. Just to be transparent, folks, Chris Moore is not an impact with the ball in his hands. He's not. And I'm not taking anything away from Chris Moore. He has been an incredibly loyal young man to the Auburn program, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for his commitment to being a lifelong Tiger. He could have played ball elsewhere. He could have gone other places, even within the SEC, within the Southeastern Conference, and played ball. And he chose to stay here at Auburn, which is tremendous. But it's staying within your role and not pulling what we've seen Chad Baker-Mazara do recently, when try to live without beyond your means. It's funny. I was actually having a conversation with my friend earlier today. I was playing golf with. I was like, I'm playing golf beyond my means right now, and I'm getting pissed off when I regress to the mean. Don't be PO'd when you regress to the mean. Live at the mean. I'm not asking you not to do special things. I'm just asking you not to do dumb special things, like weird dumb things. I'm asking you to make the smart plays, fundamental plays, and play the game. Not the way Lior Berman is. I don't want you to be Lior. I want you to be Chris, but I want you to contribute in a different way. And I think that's how they plug in nicely there, Dylan.
Yeah, I completely agree. I hate it for Lior.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As soon as we were starting to get like the Lior legacy games coming up, just terrible bad luck. Because I need the Lior Berman highlight reel of his time at Auburn. I need like the Tavon Austin.
The good news is you have enough film that you could make a highlight reel. That's a positive.
Get the whole like half that he locked down Alan Flanagan whenever he got in.
Yeah, he did do that. He did that, and also I don't want it to like go unmentioned on this podcast. I gave the whole Chris Moore spiel about how loyal he's been to this program. But you want to talk about a guy that's worked his ass off, and you want to talk about a kid that has never not bought in to the Auburn program, to the Auburn family, to Bruce Pearl and beyond. Lior Berman, I mean, as a walk-on, and just fought his tail end off for minutes. Understood that he was playing with some great players. Isaac Okoro, Walker Smith, Walker Kessler, Jabari Smith. Those just off the tongue, right? Wendell Green Jr., some phenomenal basketball players that are going to eat up minutes, and you're not going to get the minutes that necessarily Lior Berman could have earned at a Conference USA, at a G5, or at a mid-major, where he would have been a guy. He would have been a dude. I respect the hell out of that guy, and his legacy at Auburn should not go unnoticed. He also saved Auburn's ass against St. Louis just 2 years ago, and I don't want no one forget he won the damn ball game. He came in and won the damn ball game for Auburn, so that was fantastic, and we're wishing him a speedy recovery, and really, really excited where this is going to turn into an Israeli Basketball League podcast here in a little bit, because I will be following his career, and I'm very excited to see him hoop it at the professional level.
If they make jerseys.
Oh, they do. We're going to have to totally get one.
I will, without a doubt, get one. But it is without mentioning that not only does Auburn men's basketball play win tomorrow as the show comes out, so does women's basketball. I believe they also play on Wednesday, and they'll be playing in the SEC tournament as the 7 seed in the SEC tournament. They finished with an 8-8 record in conference play, and they will be going up against a
familiar foe,
one that gave not only me but Mr. Harrison Tarr migraines in the way that Auburn lost that game. 74-72 was the score to that, and an Auburn loss that just came out with just a very, very bad. I believe that was one of the third quarter games that just killed. Apart. Yeah, gave up 31 points to Arkansas in the third quarter. And of course, we're previewing the game going on, but it can't be remiss that if Auburn were to beat Arkansas, which we think is very plausible for them to do, they'd have to go right up against a team that is a split series versus Auburn this year in the LSU Tigers.
This is a revenge game. I'm sorry, I'm looking up a little quick stat here, and just I want to remind everybody that if Auburn is to win this I guess bounce back game or rematch against Arkansas on Wednesday, that will be the first 21 season in Auburn history in the Auburn program since the 2017-2018 team, which did lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament to Brigham Young. And the last time we really saw Coach Terry Williams-Lenoy have success on the Plains. This game right here, Dylan. First off, you're in the tournament. You're in Greenville. You're in a neutral site. I already like Auburn to win this one. Auburn's a different ball club than they were even a few weeks ago when they went to Fayetteville, Arkansas. Auburn has put together some impressive ball games and pulled out some tenacious wins. I mean, just don't even look further back than Sunday in Gainesville, where Auburn was able to pull out just a squeak out a 3-point victory in a hostile environment. To me, this one comes down to one player, and if she's hot, good luck playing Auburn for the duration of this SEC tournament, and as we get into March Madness, which Auburn has, or I'll get to that in a second. I digress. Honestly, Scott Grayson, man, keep her healthy, keep her minutes reasonable. You don't want to like save legs. That's not what you're doing right now. But don't run her out of gas in that third quarter. Make sure that you're braced to play a full 40 minutes of basketball, because tournament time, everybody wants to win. I mean, everybody wants to win every night, but everybody really wants to win tournament time. And this game matters to both clubs. A win over Auburn helps Arkansas's case, and a win over Arkansas puts Auburn as a 21 team. And if you get a 20-win team, and if you get left out of the SEC at the NCAA tournament as a 20-win team in this league, the tournament is rigged. That is a statement of fact. There's a lot to play for. If there's ever any ifs, ands, or buts about whether or not, and which, by the way, this game is on Thursday night as the show's coming out, so 2 days away. If there's ever a time for you to say, okay, we win this one and we're in, this is a win and in. Like, I know we've said that for the past couple games, Dylan. Auburn has done most of the groundwork that we asked them to do, winning 3 of their last 4, and winning 4 of their last 6. But this one will move you up in the net. Leave it up to your guards. Leave it up to honestly Scott Grayson and the rest of that veteran staff, veteran squad, and then let Jemima Young do her thing like she has been doing all year. Dylan, your key takeaways about how Auburn takes down Arkansas for me. I think it's Auburn against Auburn here. I do.
Yeah, we've seen a few games this year where it's just been Auburn just giving up. I don't say giving up, but giving up points and not scoring points in the third quarter. That dreaded third quarter has just been a theme of the year. And I did want to pull up Auburn's projected bracketology. Right now, they are projected to be in Corvallis for their bracket. They'll be going right now is against North Carolina.
What seed is that again?
They would be an 11 seed.
11 seed.
So hopefully that means that they are just like
already in. But you
already in it.
You want to win one in the tournament. And,
yeah,
and you always feel a lot better if you win one in your conference tournament in terms of locking yourself in. If you're one of those teams that's right there, kind of on the cut, not exactly bubble, but like borderline bubble adjacent.
If the Mississippi State win didn't do it, and the Florida win didn't do it, and the Arkansas win and didn't do it, I don't know what makes a.
I don't know what else you want at that point. I think Auburn's in.
I think they got in as soon as they. I think the moment they got in was whenever they went toe to toe with LSU in Baton Rouge and did not like fade out of that game. But that's a tough bracket to be in though, because you got UCLA, you have Tennessee in that bracket, you have Iowa in that bracket, Duke, UNC, Baylor, Gonzaga, Oregon State, just team after team after team. You do avoid a lot of other SEC teams, but yeah, if you make it out of Corvallis, you got to go play against Iowa, who I would love to see an HSG Caitlin Clark matchup. But at the same point, I don't want to.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there, Dylan. First and foremost, Auburn's got to take care of Arkansas on Thursday. And tell me if I'm wrong. I think Auburn does it by not beating themselves. I think it's taking care of the basketball, not going away from your brand on defense, and letting honestly Scott Grayson facilitate the floor.
Yes, exactly right. You rely on your forwards to get the ball to HSG or Jemima Young or Sydney Shaw. Your reliable scorers that you've had, and Taylon Collins has had a lot of success scoring under the rim. But those are your main 3 scorers right there. And when honesty needs a break, Sydney Shaw just needs to be right there, ready to go. Because Sydney Shaw is just a mini me version of HSG, which is just the greatest thing ever. Because Auburn might not skip a beat next year with Sydney Shaw getting those starting minutes.
I'm not excited for honesty to leave, but I'm really excited to see Sydney Shaw be able to cook.
Where would HSG rank? Like, is she up there enough to where her number would be in the rafters?
I almost put that down as clickbait for this. I think there's a discussion. Let's talk about that after March. And after this run is over, whatever that run winds up looking like. Hopefully it's a long one. Hopefully we don't have to talk about this till April. I think honestly Scott Grayson is going to be in that conversation for number retirement because she's done a lot of special stuff at Auburn. Then again, there's several ladies ahead of her that need to have those numbers retired first. One of which actually just hit 11,000 career points and playing overseas, and Unique Thompson, by the way. So shout out Unique, the absolute goat. You ever seen someone playing a full game with a full face of makeup and it not even being messed up after dropping like a triple double? I've never seen it happen. It's amazing. It's amazing. She's the GOAT. But yes, that's a conversation we need to have post the end of this run for this team, however deep that may be. Hoping it's very, very deep. We have this conversation later. But she's one of the greats at Auburn. And I hope no one forgets that. And it's not lost on anybody. So that's going to wrap up our basketball segment, right, Dylan? Or do you have something else?
I was about to say, also going to be looking at girls like McKenna Eddings and Celia Sambane. Whenever it's y'all's time to get on the court, you got to put up points.
Yeah.
Because again, Arkansas, the Piggies, they're not going to be the team that you would have to play next, or the team you had to play after that, or the team you had to play after that, which would probably be one Don Staley led team that is probably going to be in the championship. But if you make it through Arkansas, you have LSU, Ole Miss, and South Carolina. You have the 1, 2, and 3 seeds, I believe, lined up against you. So if you wanna pull a Kentucky and win out and win the tournament, and what would a tournament bid get you if you win the tournament? Does that jump you up? A good chunk.
I think it would have to jump you to like a 6 seed, 6 or 7.
Yeah, you're gonna need people like McKenna Eddings and Celia Sambane to get those reliable minutes, because I think McKenna Eddings, she went like 8 games without scoring a single field goal.
Yeah,
you can't have that now. This is March. Right, you got to score points.
Other women's basketball news. Did you already mention this?
About Reese Davis has committed to the Auburn Tigers. She's a class 27 guard, so she's a sophomore from Tuscumbia, Alabama. She's 5'7", and just a little note that I found, because it is very hard to find film for prospects like this. She is listed as a very good shooter and ball handler. The only issue that people have said about her as a prospect is the fact she lacks size. Well, here's the fun part about that. She's a sophomore in high school.
She can still grow. Also, you put a note here, which is great, Dylan. She can still grow, and also it wouldn't be an issue for Auburn. Auburn has made their living off small guards on the women's basketball, women's side of the basketball court.
Yeah, it'd be a huge pickup. You get a reliable shooter, someone you could trust with the ball in their hands, and like again, as you just said that I said, Auburn's bread and butter is having short guards. Honesty, Sydney Shaw, Reese Davis is up next.
I know you. You know you. And you know that I know that you know that I know you. Little dodgeball callback before we jump into our ad reads real quick. That's going to do it for men's and women's basketball. Make sure to drop in the comments your thoughts on how Chris Moore fits into this rotation. Where, when women's basketball see themselves in terms of final seeding, if they win a couple games, where do you think they're going to make a run? Can they make a run in the SEC tournament? I think they've got the pieces. It's just a matter of things got to fall their way. And let's be honest, folks, when they go toe to toe with the South Carolina or LSU, they're going to need a little help. They're going to need some help, because those teams are extremely well put together. What were we saying?
I said a little.
Yeah. Don Staley has done a tremendous job in Columbia, and Kim Mulkey is the queen of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So certainly going to need some things to go the right way. But let us know where you think that both of those teams can wind up, how your outlook is, where your boog meter is at, and how you're feeling. Are you with Dylan? You putting on the boog glasses right now? Is it March? Okay, here they come. They're here in the flesh. Is March Madness making you boog a little harder? It always makes me do so. I've convinced myself that I'm heading to Phoenix here in a few weeks for a certain big game with 4 teams remaining, one of which is going to be Auburn.
Chill out. We don't need any more jinxes like that. Auburn Auburn men's basketball Twitter tried to jinx us, or the football Twitter that tried to jinx us?
Yeah, I don't know. Who really cares at this point? We move. Let's jump into our ad reads really quick, Dylan. I'm going to remind everybody, I mentioned the comments. Head over to the comments. Give us your feedback. Give us your thoughts, not just on what we've already talked about, what we're about to talk about here on Auburn Diamond Sports. If you've not already subscribed to the College Loop YouTube channel and you're hanging out with us on the YouTube stream, make sure to hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell to stay up to date with everything going on here at the College Loop Podcast and the War Report Podcast Network. It does not take you a second. It doesn't cost you a dime, and it is the number one way you can support the show on our road to 1,000 subscribers here on the College Loop Podcast. Really want to get there so we can unlock some new features and help you guys enjoy the experience as much as we do, if not more. You guys are the best, so we appreciate your continual love and support. If you're listening on a streaming platform, what's up, guys? Thank you guys so much for listening on your streaming platform of choice. It makes my day, makes Dylan's day, and it means the world to both of us. Make sure you give us 5 stars and a thumbs up. I like how you smiled to the people who are on streaming platforms, Dylan. They can't see you. If you're listening on a streaming platform, make sure you give us 5 stars, a thumbs up, whatever the highest rating is on your streaming platform of choice. Those ratings matter so much. I cannot begin to tell you guys. The algorithm helps a ton, and we really appreciate it. We want to continue to grow the College Loop family here. That is what we are here to do. Make sure you share the show with a friend so we can also continue to grow that family. If you want to support the show in ways beyond just like subscribing and sharing the show with a friend, you can head over to thewarreport.com, pick up your very own College Loop Podcast, War Report Podcast Network, co-branded Feel and Loop t-shirt. Comes in 5 different colorways, only $25. That link is only available, that shirt is only available at the link listed in all of our descriptions. That's thewarreport.com. Pick up your very own Feel and Loopy t-shirt. Use hashtag Feel and Loopy, that's feeling without the G, on your favorite social media platform. Tag us in it. We'll make sure we throw it up on the next show, the next live stream, whatever that may look like. And we will shout you out for picking up your very own Feel and Loopy shirt, because you guys are the best and the reason we are able to do all the fun stuff we're able to do here on the College Loop Podcast. I want to remind everybody before we jump into Auburn Diamond Sports, we're wrapping up men's and women's basketball. The College Loop Bracket Challenge is coming up soon. That is coming up very, very soon. We have conference tournaments coming up. This is for men's March Madness, and we will do a women's March Madness bracket as well. So make sure you guys sign up for both of those. We'll have the men's one coming out, obviously, a little bit before the women's one, just because vice versa. Women's will come out before the men's, because that's the way their seasons round out. And the winner will receive 2 free tickets to A-Day. And Dylan, did you throw something else in? I couldn't remember if you offered something else up.
I do not remember. 2 tickets to A-Day.
2 tickets to A-Day, and I am considering. I'm toying around with the idea, maybe, and I will front this, Dylan. Maybe 2 free rounds of golf at Auburn's Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. I may throw that one in. You can play golf with me. I'm not paying for people to play R2J, and I don't get to play, but we will. I think I'm going to throw that one in there officially. So 2 free tickets to A-Day, 2 free rounds of golf. That's for you and a friend. You only get to use it once. Sorry, guys. Vouchers only valid on one day. You get to pick the day. We'll coordinate that. But 2 free rounds of golf for you and a friend at Auburn's Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. Beautiful course, Dylan. Gorgeous course over at RTJ. It's in no way selfish that I want to give this away, and not at all. But
Tarr's looking for golf buddies for his golf talk.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure all of my buddies play in the bracket challenge, and they have really good brackets, so I can be like, I have to do this, guys. It's part of the business. That's your deal. That's our deal. We're really excited. The bracket challenge was a ton of fun last year. We had just about 85 people in it. Let's make 300 this year. Let's make it super competitive. Let's have a lot of people. Invite your friends, invite your family. Even if they're not listeners, we want to have them in. So we'll get to that point now. Once those details are released, we'll make sure they're in the descriptions as well, Dylan, so people can link in and tap right into the College Loop Bracket Challenge. Let's talk Auburn Diamond Sports. We will begin speaking. Excuse me. I just tripped over my own words. I swear to God, I speak English. We'll start with Auburn baseball. First off, news. Josh Donaldson has officially announced his retirement. Braves and Auburn legend. Braves for one season, but Auburn from 2005 to 2007, I believe. I want to make sure. I want to double check that real quick. 2005 to 2007. He was a career 307 hitter during his time on the Plains. His OBP was 378, launching 28 bombs over that outfield wall at Plainsman Park, and I guess beyond, if you want to look that way. Played in 158 games, received 596 at-bats, scored 122 runs, 183 hits, and drew 64 walks. All of this while only striking out 102 times. Guys, that is freaking impressive. That did correlate into his professional career. When you look at him, he was a career, let me double check myself here, career 261 hitter in the big leagues, which that's how that correlates. MLB is incredibly hard to be successful at. Recording 279 career home runs across a slew of different teams. Those teams being Oakland at post his draft, the Oakland Athletics, then Oakland Athletics, soon to be Vegas Athletics, by the way. The Toronto Blue Jays during their insane little run there from 2015 until 2017. And then until 2018, played in Cleveland for a year, Atlanta for a year, Minnesota for a couple, New York for 2 years, and then ended his career alongside Carlos Correa in Milwaukee. So very, very interesting lineage and a tremendously successful, well-renowned power hitter. And a lot of people consider him to be one of the best bat flippers of all time in the history of the MLB. There's also, Dylan mentioned, a compilation of him bat flipping on non-home runs. He was very confident in everything that he swung, but his time at all was nothing remarkable and special. And a huge congratulations to a true Auburn legend and a man who has continued to be active within the Auburn baseball program post his departure, Dylan.
I mean, if he would love to step by and be not only a guest in the College Loop, but also a coach for the Auburn Tigers, load up with the alumni support staff. It worked for recruiting for Auburn football. Let's get it going for Auburn baseball too.
Butch got it under control though, and Butch we trust.
I will say, yeah,
and Butch we trust. But
adding support staff wouldn't hurt.
Josh Donaldson, if Josh Donaldson were to come on the College Loop podcast, if any of you guys who listen have a connect to Josh Donaldson some way, somehow, my best bet would be Greg Olson, and I don't think they're buddies. And I know nothing personal. I just think the age difference is there. Yeah, let us know. If Josh Donaldson could come on the College Loop podcast, I would probably be the most starstruck you've ever seen. I grew up when I really got into professional baseball at a level beyond just watching the Braves and started watching baseball beyond the Braves was really the Josh Donaldson, Jose Bautista, Toronto Blue Jays. Like that was I guess a little later than I started watching, but I remember those teams being so damn fun. They were putting up so many runs and just shutting you down on defense and never brought home a ring, tragically. He had a remarkable career. Then him coming to play in Atlanta for a year. That was the most arrogant dude I've ever seen, and he was so fun to have on the team. Such a blast. And then oddly enough, we also had Jose Bautista. That's a fun little sidebar for those of you guys who forgot about that. I imagine a ton of Braves overlap here. So drop in your comments your favorite Josh Donaldson moment, whether that be at Auburn, whether that be in Toronto, anywhere else in his career, or whether that be with the Atlanta Braves, because he had some fun ones with that Atlanta Braves team. Dylan, let's talk about Auburn baseball current as we look forward to Auburn's midweek clash with, I'm drawing a blank,
the Air Force Falcons.
I almost called them the Chair Force, which would have just been disrespectful. Dylan, Auburn's got to win this ball game. You tell me why.
They need to win this ball game because wins help. Was that? Auburn hasn't been struggling too bad. I mean, you had the UConn Sunday game or the doubleheader that was just bad. But it was just a bad first inning for Jogo, which it's going to happen from time to time. You're going to
get lit up sometimes. That's how baseball works.
And UConn, not the best team. They just had a very good game that second game of the Saturday series. But you're looking at Auburn as a potential threat to the SEC. I mean, Auburn not getting respected in the polls, I must say. I'm an Auburn fan, and I hope I don't sound biased when I say this, but D1 baseball, baseball perfect game, whoever's ranking, I don't like you very much because you are severely underrating where Auburn deserves to be.
Auburn's got to prove it. Auburn needs to prove it to the rest of the world, and a little bit to me, Dylan. Let me tell you why. It starts with Air Force. This team is smelly and bad. This Air Force team last year was incredible. They were hitting nukes routinely. Now, granted, they do play out of Fort Collins, so in Colorado, I'd take that with a grain of salt. Poking the ball out of the yard in Colorado, not as impressive. Still love the Rockies. I digress. This group is hitting for a collaborative 241. Not great, not ideal. Dylan mentioned they're 4-7 on the season. Their on-base percentage for the season to this point, I had it right in front of me, and I just tabbed away from it. Bear with me for a second here. 720. No, that's way too high. That is not it. They're slugging, excuse me. Their OBP is 363. They're slugging for 364, which is just not great, not super fun, not fresh, not exactly what you're looking for. They also don't draw a ton of walks. They're not getting deep into at-bats. They've drawn 51 walks through 11 games, which feels like a lot, but there's been a couple of like really bad outings against them that they've still managed to lose. So that's kind of impressive. Auburn's got to get it done in the midweek here, Dylan. I'm looking at bullpen by committee, and I'm looking at this entire offense to go 1 through 9. And then I need 3 wins this weekend against Austin Peay. We'll talk about them on the Thursday show, I know. But you mentioned the Dylan's underrated. That Auburn's underrated. Dylan, they got to prove it. They got to prove it because we're going to talk here in a second about where they're at in terms of SEC.
I mean, I got to be honest. I think I'm pretty on point with them saying they're underrated because that loss to Virginia was a very quality loss. But again, you're going against Air Force, and I'm going to take the guess that Connor McBride might be your midweek guy. He won you the game against Stanford last week.
Connor McBride might wind up being your Friday guy.
Yeah. But you're not going to look at Allsup. You're not going to look at Jogo. You're not going to look at Carson Myers. You're not going to look at John Armstrong. You're not going to look at Will Cannon. You're not looking at any of those guys that you're going to be waiting to see against Austin Peay. It's going to be Connor McBride. It's going to be Dylan Watts. It's going to be Parker Carlson. It's going to be Cameron Kashak, and it's going to be Griffin Graves, or as like the guys you're going to be looking at bullpen wise during a midweek. It's going to be up to them. Air Force, again, we talked about it a little bit. Not the best team at hitting the ball. Very bad at hitting the ball, actually. 8 home runs this year. Auburn has 22. And 2 of those coming from one game from Mike Irish because he is an absolute
animal
dog. But that's what you're looking at. I don't think Auburn really struggling in this game unless they just absolutely just allow themselves to.
Auburn
but
versus Auburn.
It's the theme of Auburn athletics, but just there's so many great things about this Auburn baseball team that you got to look at games like this and Austin Peay and of course Troy next week. Just looking very ahead. Those are your last few games before you have to play in Nashville, Tennessee, against the Vanderbilt Commodores. So I understand where you're coming from. That you got to prove it. I think this team has proved to be one of the top teams in the country, and just terms of just the country. But
sure,
SEC's a whole other ball game.
It's the SEC is a bloodbath, and that's why I was going to ask you this question very quickly, Dylan. We won't spend a ton of time on this. I know we're rolling down toward the backstretch of this show today, but Vanderbilt is looming. Those Commodores are 10-3. Now that's only a game better than Auburn. I recognize they played a couple more than Auburn. I recognize that too. That doesn't, that's not lost on me. But there are some programs that are flat out taking care of business in college ball, specifically in the SEC this year. I'm looking at the Tennessees, the Georgias, the Kentuckys of the world, the Texas A&Ms, the Alabamas, the LSUs that are all 1 loss or better. And then you want to start talking 2-loss teams in the SEC. Well, it's actually somehow just Auburn and Arkansas. But where are you at on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being not confident at all, 10 being I'm confident? Your confidence in Auburn being prepared for this SEC slate, but given how they performed against their opponents to this point this year, I'm not expecting perfection. I'll get to my point in a second. Just curious where you're at because I'm not at a 10.
I'll probably give it an 8. Okay. I think that's where I'm standing. I think I've just seen too many positive things from this team. Resilience, getting into games. You have guys who are getting hits that weren't getting them last year. I mean, we're watching Ike Irish lead the team in home runs. That wasn't a thing last year. He was hitting the crap out of the ball, but he wasn't hitting over the fence.
Right.
But you're seeing that. You're seeing standout games from Carson Myers. You're seeing freshman pitchers coming in on Sundays, and I'm forgetting his name, Cam Tilley. There he is, coming in and just absolutely just taking over the game.
Hitters.
Exactly. This team has all the goods to be
great.
Good. Great. But that's just the confidence I have in this team. And it's not only just the team itself, but you have one of the most underrated coaches in college baseball and one of the best coaches in the SEC. And if you were to rank coaches just in general in the SEC, just look at all the sports, Butch Thompson would be highly regarded in that list. Because I don't know exactly where he'd rank. That'd be a whole can of worms to try to rank.
Yeah, don't open that one, please.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try. But Butch Thompson would be I would give Butch top 15 out of all major sports in the SEC. And just because basketball is just so freaking loaded over there.
I think you would struggle a little more than that than you would think. But go on.
Oh, I know I would, because I'm not even fretting about it. 'Cause I'm not gonna try it. Not happening. Look at the camera. You have Butch Thompson. You have a talented roster. You picked up guys that you needed in the transfer portal who have just done dividends for you. Carson Myers, Cooper Weiss has just been an absolute dog. And I got to find another adjective because dog seems I'm overdoing it. But he just is. That's how good Cooper Weiss is. Derek Fabian is playing very, very well. Javon Hernandez is playing very well. You have all of these pieces that are playing and meshing together like a, knock on wood, a team that you can see in Nebraska in the latter parts of the year. That my confidence level is just me talking about it might just have me scooted up a little bit, but I'm gonna stick it. I'm gonna stick it at 8.
I'm gonna stick it at a 7. I'm only a little more skeptic just because I need to see a little more consistency out of the pen. And I need the pitching rotation for me to make me buy in a little bit this weekend. Jogo needs to bounce back this week. Other than that, I love where this team's at. I really do. The 7's only got, for those of you guys, just to clarify, the SEC is really freaking hard to win in. And that is not just, I know I sound like a broken record when I say that I think the Southeastern Conference is the greatest athletics conference in intercollegiate athletics. I do. In almost everything. Like, not all sports, I'm not naive to that, but I think in large, I think it is the most competitive conference in the country, and I think baseball is certainly no exception. This field is so damn good of opponents that you're going to go through. It's a grudge match, just a slugfest to get to the SEC season. You get metaphorical and physical, black eyes, and it is just trying to stay on your feet as long as you can. I made this a whole boxing reference. I'm not sure why. I don't watch boxing, but you know what I'm getting at here. I'll never be at a 10. This team could be LSU level good last year coming into the slate, and I'd be like a 9. It's tough to stay at a 10. It's hard to get there, and I need to see a little bit more out of the guys that are going to be on the bump before I can say I'm ready for Auburn to take on Vanderbilt. Do I think they're going to be fine? I think absolutely, and I think they're going to make noise in the SEC. But it's hard to win here, and I'm not entirely sure that they're 100% prepped. But to your point, in Butch, we trust. On to the other side of the diamond, let's talk Auburn softball, who literally might never play again.
I just heard word they just canceled the season. Whoa, what's going on? Yeah,
that's a joke. That's a joke.
Joking. But you never know with this team because now it is up to 8. I need to have a tally somewhere. I need to have a little, like how they do the strikeout
tally
thing,
board, like a whiteboard or a chalkboard with tally marks on it.
Yeah, or do like the K counter.
Yeah, right.
With the eagle screeching.
Game
cancellations.
Like
8.
The rain cloud emoji. That's what we'll do. Just the rain cloud emoji.
8 games. I might be, it's 7 or 8. I got to recount because in my head it's 8. Due to rain, or of course Longwood having had to opt out of the Plainsman invite because of things that happened within their program. I don't know what exactly happened, so I don't want to make a joke of that. But 8 games have been canceled for this team or postponed. A lot of other teams have played 19, 20 games at this point. Auburn's sitting at 16. That doesn't sound like a lot. Hold on. 12-2 and 15. Down a lot of games as opposed to a lot of other teams that have already played.
A lot of other teams in the conference.
Yeah. Which, you had Troy this week. That game's not happening this week. I would love to see if it does happen. But we'll have a preview for the series coming up this weekend against Missouri, who is, I believe, 17-2 on the conference, or is in the record to open up SEC play, and of course, a team that is not playing many games this year in Auburn is also going to have to welcome home one Bree Ellis next weekend. And what you want to do is whenever you play sports like this, you kind of want to have a lot of games and film to kind of know what you need to work on. Well, there's a lot of film of Arkansas out there. Bree Ellis might knock the eagle off of the statue.
Oh my God! Somehow, she gets better every game. I'm not even typing her up because yes, obviously the Ellis family, friends of the program, but oh my God, she's the scariest hitter in softball.
Which no shocker there, really. It's not a shocker whatsoever.
We knew this was happening. Like,
if you have open practices when they're not, I say it every week because
Listen.
I haven't been able to see it yet. You got to get consistent hitters.
I'm not drawing this part parallel to piss anybody off, but Brie Ellis going to Arkansas was a little bit like KD joining the Warriors. Like,
Well, you're not wrong.
yeah, I know, and I get it, and I'm very happy for her. I am extremely happy for her. I wish her all the success in the world. If Auburn can't win the national championship, I'm rooting for Brie Ellis, not necessarily Arkansas, but I'm rooting for her absolute success and the best absolute outcome possible for the Ellis family because they're great humans. But it is a little bit like KD going to the Warriors. I digress. Her former, what was it, accountability partner, right?
Yeah, her accountability buddy.
Yeah, that's right. Accountability buddy. Maddie Penta.
Dog.
Perfect, by the way. Maddie Perfect Penta. Her 6th SEC player of the week, pitcher of the week. I mean, like, they should just name it the Penta Award.
Can't spell pitcher without her.
Yeah, so true. So shout out Maddie Penta for just absolutely mowing down people and being unhittable. I would absolutely love to go in the cage against Maddie Penta. I'm not going to swing. I don't want to swing. I have no desire to swing. I just want to see it from a hitter's point of view. Like I could stand there with an imaginary bat in my hand. You know what I mean? I'd just be interested.
You're brave.
No, I mean, like, no, I'm not brave. I'm not brave. She's not going to hit me. She's the guy. She has that much control. I don't think.
I know.
I'd like to think that I'd like to think that Maddie and I could be on good enough terms that she wouldn't hit me, and that I would just want to like witness that. And I might need to wear 2 pairs of like pants in case I pee the first one because I'm so scared. But I do want to see that because like I think it'd be fascinating. She's so unbelievably gifted. Auburn, enjoy her. Enjoy her. I hate that I think that Auburn's wasting her last year.
I will say we have yet to have mentioned the 6th SEC Pitcher of the Week award, which is a program record.
Yeah.
I would go to say we talked about Oscar Grayson earlier on. I don't think it's too early to talk about Maddie Penta being regarded as one of the best pitchers ever,
if not the best pitcher in the history of the program,
in the history of softball. You know, just ever to grace a.
She's going to go down on that list, somewhere on that list, not far down. She's going to go down.
It just sucks that I don't know if she'll ever get a ring of any kind. That sucks.
Yeah. No, it's we'll be talking a lot different about this organization after this season. I'm confident. And we'll be able to actually have some conversations about some things that I think that you and I have both been biting our tongues about for a while. That's shade. If you want to take it, however you want to take it from my end, that's coming straight from me. I'm not saying I know anything that anybody else doesn't know or knows, because I don't. I just know which way this team is headed, and I know the product that we've seen on the field. And given the track record of Auburn's patience level with that kind of thing across any sport, that recipe does not spell success for a program continuity. I think that is quite literally, I want it on the record. That's all I know. That is all I know, is that Auburn's track record does precede it, Dylan. And that if you are perennially plateauing, let me just put it this way. If you plateau in football and they give you the can, nobody's safe at any other level. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it there. That's where I'll leave it. We'll wrap up the College Loop podcast, episode 174 today. Yes, 174. We are knocking on the 200 door, sort of, kind of.
Will we get to 200 or will we get to 800 first? What'll happen?
I like 800. I like 800 a lot because I'm going to remind everybody to make sure they hit like, subscribe, ring the bell right here on the College Loop podcast YouTube channel. If you're hanging out with us on the YouTube stream, thank you guys so much. Drop in the comments, give us your feedback, give us your thoughts. Who gets the next statue at Auburn? Love that conversation. We had that one a lot. Dylan and I explore a lot of different avenues, and I feel like our especially since the Big Hurt has one now, our opinions change on that. So that's
Aubie.
That's right, and Aubie. I mean, like the goats, like they're there. So that's a fun one. Give us your feedback on Auburn baseball, Auburn basketball, Auburn women's basketball, Auburn softball, the whole 9 yards. If you've got any takes on, I think Arch Manning just opted out of the college football game. Sure, tell us about how upset that makes you. I don't really care. That's fine. We are your sounding board. We are your vent session. So please make sure to drop in the comments. We want to hear your feedback. Hit subscribe, ring the bell so you can stay up to date with everything going on here at the College League Podcast, and you get notified when all of our shows come up as a premiere. That's a nice feature, very underrated feature that I appreciate YouTube for installing. If you're hanging out with us on a streaming platform, thank you so much for making it to the end of the show. Congratulations. You did it. Here's your cookie, metaphorically. Make sure you grab us a 5-star review, a thumbs up review, whatever the highest rating is on your streaming platform of choice. Share the show with a friend and help us grow the College Loop family. You guys are the best in the world. And if you want to support the show in a way beyond just freebies, we really, really would appreciate if you were to go pick up your very own College Loop War Report co-branded Feelin' Loopy t-shirt. Comes in 5 different colorways. That link is always in the description. That's only available at thewarreport.com. That's a warreport.com exclusive. That's a statement of fact. It's exclusive to thewarreport.com. Use hashtag Feelin' Loopy, Feelin' without the G, on your favorite social media platform. Tag us in it. Show us your selfie. Show us how much you're rocking that Feelin' Loopy t-shirt. We'll throw it up on the stream next show, whatever that may look like. Thank you guys for your continual love and support. I'm Harrison Tarr, at by Harrison Tarr on the Bird app and on Instagram. I make golf content now, so if you want to go hang out with me on TikTok, that's Tar_15. And I am shamelessly making golf content. I've been working on my golf game a lot this year, guys. I've knocked off over a dozen strokes, and I'm really, really proud of my progress I'm making. So I'm trying to document that there and also make some relatable golf content because I still suck. And if you don't play often, you probably do too, so you'll probably relate. Just remember, we're out there to have a good time. Let's all have a day. Dylan, thanks for hanging out with me again today, man. It's good to hear from you. Thanks for letting me come back on and grace you with my presence. It's always my pleasure. Tell everybody where they can find you. Love you, support you, and let's get out of here.
I think I just got a headache from you saying that. But yeah. I'm Dylan Larck, Boy Tank on Twitter. It's at YOBOI the Tank. I also have an Instagram as well at Dylan Larck. Visual aids, just right there in this area. Special interview coming up very, very soon. I don't want to spoil it just yet because you'll see it coming up. I believe we're going to be having the interview very, very soon with an Auburn athlete, and I will.
Is that on Wednesday?
It is. I believe that should be Thursday's show. If not, we'll let you know, and I'll keep teasing it until it ultimately happens. And for other content of mine, I'm also going to start doing my own kind of content as well. As you could tell behind me, I like hats. I have 65 different college football team hats. I'm going to start doing my own college football content alongside the College Loop, alongside the War Report, alongside the War Report gaming channel, which is off to a roaring start. We have plenty of content coming up from that. So if you've not checked out the War Report Gaming, what are you doing? Big plans for that one. Some college football revamped, potentially. And then, of course, whenever the game comes out, we'll have some college football 25 action over there at the War Report Gaming. So go check out that channel. If you do, please, whatever the phrase is, thank you for doing that whenever you do it. Words are hard. I did have a degree in journalism, so yeah. But if you're looking for me elsewhere, of course, you have me right here on the College Loop. Like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, you have on the social media as well on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, the works. All of those at the College Loop. Visual aid right over there, right above Tar's head. And also down in the descriptions below for all of those beautiful apps and links. And of course, Tyler seeing our face is completely understandable. You have us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music for the audio versions of the show. And of course, all of that being said, this has been the College Loop Podcast.
Love you guys.